5 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. If you join us in the pledge, please.
Guest was
Is she
leading
the
it. Isn't
pledge?
she leading it?
Is she the pledge or is she the cover?
Go.
I'm sorry.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for coming. We'd like to announce the winner of the drawing for the school district book, and the winner is Eleonora Azerbayev. If I hopefully have that correct. There you go. Certificate for you and a gift certificate for you. Congratulations, good job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't forget Bob and Norma. Did it take a while to come up with that drawing, or? No?
Not particularly.
Anybody?
Very nice.
Nice drawing, isn't it?
Mom,
Yes.
you got a chance to see that yet up close? Go take a look, Etsy.
We'll bring it over to you. Yeah, we'll make sure.
Great job. Thank you very
Good
much.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, have a good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
She going to Disney World?
She's got her bed being delivered to her house right now, so they gotta get home. Need an 18-wheeler.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they live in a crazy area too. I hope they sanded down there. 18-wheeler down there. Oh my goodness. They live right across from Fulkerson's.
Oof. I'm nervous when I go down that way
With an 18-wheeler?
with my car.
I could imagine.
I take her daughter home once in a while from Philly. That's a tough road.
It is a tough road. Studded tires.
Yep. Usually go screeching past her driveway. Again.
She can tell me it's the first house. All she wants is to go buy it.
Andrew, Kenny Communications, that's for the radios, correct?
It's used for the tower radio.
Is there a monthly fee to that?
That's what that is, that's the monthly, it's monthly fee. we
It
pay.
is a monthly fee?
Yeah,
Or is it, it's monthly, it's not quarterly, correct?
no, it's monthly.
see all those.
Everybody all set with the manifest? If so, can I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll make the motion to approve the manifest.
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes of the last meeting.
Whoa, sorry about that.
Looking at the January 7th
That's,
work session. A motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the article work session on Tuesday, January 7th.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
January 15th.
I just have one correction. I have a correction on page 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth paragraph down, superintendent was a T, not a D.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Good catch.
with an N before it, or intend?
Superintendent?
N-E-N-T. Right, intent.
Mhm.
Do I hear a motion for the approval of the January 15th?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Is there any reason why we can't do the non-public of January 15th? No? Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve the non-public board meeting of Wednesday, January 15th.
I'll say that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Seeing none, correspondence.
I can speak to this, Mr. Chair, if you want.
Good. Mr. Thursby.
In your packet, you have a letter from Commissioner Berry in regard to the state board had accepted the report from the Wakefield School District Withdrawal Study Committee, and they're placing that report on file. With this acceptance from the state board, we will be putting a warrant on the ballot for fiscal year 16, because the voters have to approve that recommendation from the planning committee. So that'll be the next step. I did bring copies of the letter that was written to the state board and the letter from Commissioner Berry for tonight's deliberative session, so the public is aware and they have copies of those letters so that they're informed.
Would that be the 5th, 2015, not 2016?
No, it would not go on this year's ballot, it would go on next year's ballot. And yes.
Okay, but it's, all right, I'm thinking it'll be March of 2015 when it'll be on the ballot.
And when we were down with Rochester, did they have an idea how long it would take to give us the information necessary to go the next step that the withdrawal committee recommended from Wakefield? They recommended that we still talk to Rochester about SAU services. Did the Rochester folks have an idea when that information could be available?
At our first meeting, they had discussed that they would be having that discussion in their February meetings, and then we would have a follow-up subcommittee meeting regarding that to review the area agreement. It was part of that conversation around the area agreement. Keep in mind that conversation with Rochester was out of an original conversation, the planning committee that we had here in Wakefield. So the planning committee did not specifically recommend, but it was something that we had to follow through with, that we started with the withdrawal planning committee. So we're doing that, And
That was the loose end, right?
yeah, at our first meeting with Rochester, they had mentioned that once they discuss it with their full board, they'll contact me to set the meeting for a follow-up meeting. I'm sure we'll have more discussions regarding that.
Thank you.
And then Mr. Tercey just handed me this envelope that was received.
Looking for money?
Donations.
This is a tuition request, so we should deal with that in non-public.
Or we can put it on the next agenda.
Want to do that?
Yes.
Just mark that you received it and put the,
Yeah, it's kind of a,
Well, we have, in our list of items for the non-public session, we have tuition requests in that. Is it not proper to deal with it at that meeting? Or?
I prefer to do it at the next meeting specifically because I check to make sure that we're within the 10% for that grade level. I haven't seen that letter, so I want to make sure that I've done my due diligence on providing the board with the information necessary to approve it or not.
Thank you.
In regard to a waiting list.
Heed your advice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
new business, deliberative session discussion. I'd like to thank Bob Olet for stepping up. He wants to do all of them, so. Mighty neighborly of you, Bob.
Bobby, you're blushing.
Thanks, Steve.
You're welcome.
We put this on the agenda just to
Make sure
clarify.
we know what we're doing
and
tonight.
Make sure the board is prepared in the sense if there's any remaining questions as to how we'd like to move forward with answering any questions from the public this evening around the deliberative session, whether the board would like to take an article apiece to respond to, or up.
I guess, could you just please go over, it's been a while since I've sat up at the head table for deliberative session. I don't know if you've been there in a while, but if maybe the two of you could explain to us how this scenario goes again, because you're saying take an article, and for our new folks, they're like, what are you talking about? Because they have no idea what we're doing.
There's many ways that it could happen. Some boards will divvy up each article so that one person is responsible for answering, being the primary person who answers that specific article, questions around that article. Or they also just leave it open and whoever wants to pipe in will pipe in. So sometimes it's
I think
done.
that'll be difficult for me anyways, you know, to read an article and answer the questions on my own, but
Mhm.
being a newcomer. Go ahead, Steve.
By doing them all, that'll give you sufficient practice, so by the end, you'll be spot on.
Maybe.
I'd kind of I'd kind of like the idea of the chair assuming that position.
The
And-
tie, yeah.
And then if he needed any help, he could look at one side or the other and up and down and all around the room for help.
I would think that's the way it should go, because, we can stumble. I could stumble.
Who couldn't?
We all can.
Sure.
Mhm.
I think that's human nature.
So, what do you want to do?
So I'd second that for Steve doing all of them like that.
Is that an all those in favor?
You have a
I
problem
heard?
with that, Steve?
Huh?
I think Steve's on top of it, and I think he can handle
I
the task.
agree.
I think
I
you can
agree.
too. I have faith in him.
Just that we have to move and second the articles.
Mhm.
So after the moderator reads them, then someone will move the article and then second it. And then-
Would you like me to move the article and then someone else can second it, and then that will be for discussion, is that right? At that point in time, it's seconded for discussion?
Well, probably if I'm reading all these, I probably
I
would
believe the
move-
moderator reads them?
I'm sorry, after the moderator reads it and I'm doing all these, should I move them, then one of the four of you second them?
Sure.
Sure.
No.
Because the moderator kinda, either they have a list of who's gonna do them, so
And then-
then he calls on that person.
And if there's a specific one, like the benefit, the
The
article, is it Article 2?
Article
If they
2.
have questions on Article 2, I do have my paperwork that I can answer those questions to the best of my ability.
So the chair can lead off, and if another board member has information pertaining to the question, then the other board member would.
So
Answer it.
some of them can go through without no questions.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Without any questions.
Go ahead. No, Amy.
That's good.
Thanks, Bob. All set. All right.
All right.
Administration, financial reports.
Any questions on the expense report?
I got a question. How often do you get asked to provide the information as the breakdown, where money's coming from? I mean, do you ever have to go through the process of telling anybody in the public or on these public boards how much federal money's coming in, where state money comes in that's not connected to federal money? I mean,
Well, that's basically what the revenue report shows you, where the money's
He
coming
gives it
from.
to us every time it comes.
but it doesn't always tell us where it's coming from in these expense reports. It tells us what's being paid, but it doesn't always tell us where the money's coming from.
Well, as an example, look at the general fund, that's all coming from,
Are you looking at your revenue report, Ralph?
I was looking at the expense report.
But it would also include the grant report also.
Okay, so every meeting we have, that information's available.
Correct.
Thank you.
In looking at these reports, do we know if the current treasurer signed up to run again this year? She did?
She does.
Okay, good.
Does that answer your question, Ralph?
Yes, it did.
The report?
Some of the, as I look at it quickly, I mean, it's all Polish to me, but I'll figure it out, I think.
If you have any questions, feel free to contact us.
Okay, thank you.
You want to approve the manifest?
Yeah,
We didn't do that yet.
yeah.
Oh, we voted on here. Okay, I'm sorry. Voted on the wrong spot.
Any other questions on the financial reports?
Everybody all set? For Andrew? No questions, all right, thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
SAU 64. Mr. Tercey,
Nothing at this time, Mr. Chair.
nothing, old business. Anything for old business, Mr. Tercey?
We'll talk Public, no, sir.
Actually, I have a quick question to Jerry, basically. Jerry, how's the school lunches going this year?
Lunches themselves are going pretty well. We're running into some issues with some students, making a decision at 8:30 in the morning what they want for lunch, and when they get up to the lunchroom, decide, geez, that doesn't look quite as good as what I had ordered. I'm going to have something different. So what we've run into is trying to tighten up the kids and what they're choosing for lunch first thing in the morning and holding them to that, because the kids are choosing, say, I want a chicken patty, and they get up there and all the chicken patties are gone because everybody else said that the ham sandwich didn't look quite as good as the chicken patty. So we're trying to tighten that up a little bit, but really those are our big issues. They're more internal rather than for cafe services.
Yeah, I was just curious because I haven't heard much this year.
No, we haven't had any real complaints about lunch itself, except for, again, this internal piece of making sure the kids are choosing what they really want to have. Otherwise, the other kids are being left out in the cold. Usually it's the last lunch.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
sir.
School board business, heating loop RFP. Yes.
What does RFP stand for?
Request for proposal.
Or Ralph Fogg's a pest.
Well, that's a given. You got, well, Norma wasn't there, but the RFP that we were talking about, there was two questions basically that were brought up at the facilities meeting. The first one on the page 46, the number 5, the last item on page 46, dismantle and remove old boiler and oil tanks in the basement area. We were wondering whether maybe we should just leave them there. The boiler is running, but although Mr. Adams and Joe Williams stated that there would really be no further use for it in the future, and which drove the second question, well, if it's going to remain there, could it be possibly that it could be utilized in the future with the plumbing situation tying in the two loops? Maybe adding a couple of gate valve, ball valves or something that it could be used. And so that was the question, whether we really wanted to add the dismantling and removing of the old boiler in with this RFP. Go ahead, Bob.
Is the old boiler oil
Yes,
and the new boiler's a propane?
correct.
So you couldn't just flip a ball valve and make them work?
Yeah. You're talking
Because you're only
hot water.
pushing water.
You're talking hot water. It's not, that's all you,
So with removal of them would be the oil tanks too?
correct. But, that's gonna drive up the cost. That estimate that we received, that would,
Why don't we get an estimate for
We,
with and without?
we did get an estimate. The one that we got from Admiral included all removal.
I don't believe of the furnace.
Yes, it did.
I mean, if that's the
I believe
case,
it did.
Well, yeah, if that's,
I believe that it included, disposal and removal of all old equipment included.
that's the old equipment.
Price includes all labors, materials, removal and disposal of all equipment. At this point in time, we're trying to abolish this system for a more efficient system, and in going with our facilities manager, they said that on one furnace, we run great. On two, we're never gonna have a problem. I just think it would be in the best interest to clear cut it. You never know, there might come something else that we need to utilize that space for. And I've never been in the cellar.
no, it's like a closet.
Well,
really.
if it's a small closet and if it's heated, there must be paint and other stuff that needs to be stored. That would be a sufficient place to have that storage and alleviate some space up here.
There's plenty of storage down there.
Well, I don't really know, I've never been down there, but I think where it's included in the estimate that we're guiding that we're looking toward, I think that I personally think that it would be best to remove everything. One, are you gonna drain the oil barrels? And if you're gonna do that, because you don't want a chance of a leak, you're gonna have to pay for service, you're gonna have to pay for maintenance,
We're
inspections.
hoping that we're gonna draw down the oil.
Stop buying
So-
the oil so it.
Right.
But that
empties
means that
themselves.
before you turn that furnace on, it's not gonna be as easy as flipping those switches, because you're gonna have someone that knows how to bleed the lines, you're gonna have to call the tank in. I think that might be another issue, and like, if you listen to what they said that so much work has been done and past hasn't been taken out to move forward, that I think it might be in the best interest to,
All right, but I
Remove
would question that as
well,
to.
it's right here.
What other equipment would it be, Steve?
Well, they're gonna have to be removing some ceiling tiles, and there is gonna be a bit of construction.
But it says right in this quote, price includes all labor, material, and removal and disposal
We
of
can
all
get-
old
We can
equipment.
just check into that. and
I
that's
mean,
just the-
but it's in this RFP, so that's what they would have to bid the RFP on, is dismantle and removal. But I would
Okay.
do you,
Well, my concern was, taking a functioning unit and just smashing it and then having a need in the future.
Maybe he's cutting his cost and he's gonna sell it.
If the need would not be there, and we can be assured of that, the two LP burners are efficient and oversized.
How old is that old system?
I think it's 22 years old.
yeah, it's 22. Good.
Well, to the best of my recollection, when we had Admiral come in, one of the questions that was asked was if the other furnaces' capacity, if he could confirm that those furnaces were gonna be able to successfully run this building, and he said yes, without a doubt, and more efficiently. So I would think that we have to stop second guessing ourselves, knowing that that's the information that they gave us. And it wasn't just from that person, it was from the other two people that bid too. Although we didn't like their bids, their information was still the same.
I guess I would make a motion to forward the RFP as it's written, because, I do see the logic in relying on, the two burners that'll be more efficient. I thought there may be a time down the road where if one of the LP burners wasn't working, something had to happen where that needed to be fired up. We're getting some assurances that won't be the case. So I guess with that information, I wouldn't be so concerned about keeping that oil burner in there and ready to use in the case of an emergency.
So, can I have a motion that we have the RFP sent out so we can move forward with the heating loop tie-in?
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Committee reports. I think we basically just discussed the facilities facilities committee that we just had.
I don't know, the things on our agenda for the subcommittee also included the tree removal and the trailer removal out there, so
Well,
Norma was setting up two separate RFPs for those two projects. And I'm telling you because Bonnie and Bob were there listening, so, so that was part of
that was
my committee report.
I just have, I know that you both signed up to run again. Thank you. I just want to forewarn you that I don't know if you've been to the new member New Hampshire School Board Association night that they offer, but it gives you a lot of information. And I don't know if you went last year, but sometimes it's good.
You?
With us. I know, with me. And I didn't know if you'd wanna,
I'd want to go again.
I would think that we'd wanna go again and just refresh and see what's the new goals.
Great sandwiches.
Yeah, they were good sandwiches. Some of them. I'm going for that.
So, just a heads up that it is, during the day.
Oh, that was
Oh,
me
no.
out.
Nope, I take that back. Tuesday, April 29th, 5 to 8:30.
During the day.
So it's 5 to 8:30, it's at night,
During the day.
At the LGC building down there.
Yep.
for Triangle Park.
at the local government center in Concord.
Driving? You driving?
I'll drive. No smoking.
Comments by the public?
I'm there.
Seeing none. I'll make a motion that we go into non-public under RSA 91A32, A, B, and C, tuition request, resignation, nominations. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Fog eye.
This is not,
Brown, yes?
Sierra.
What, yes?
Joy, I.
Thank you for coming.